Previously, on the Hoard of the Dragon Queen. The north of Faerun finds itself embroiled in chaos, as the long benign cult of the dragon has recently made a resurgence, and is actively pillaging nearby lands at the behest of 7 Sajarin, who is attempting to gather 5 dragon masks to release Tiamat from her prison in the 9 Hells. Meanwhile, 4 novice adventurers journey to the town of Greenest as caravan guards for the belligerent Nub McGrub. During said journey, they came to know Nub's bodyguard, Sebastian Crenshaw, and the reserved Marlowe Duskwood, who did their best to make the group feel welcome, despite Nub's foul temperament and overt self-interest. When the party reached their destination, they were greeted by the sight of a blue dragon that circled ominously over the town. Sensing the plight below, the party ventured further in, and soon arrived at Greenest Keep, where they became acquainted with Governor Naito and Castilian. From here, the party proceeded to work through the night, and saved many townspeople, whilst also driving back the nefarious raiders, which eventually culminated in a stand at the keep, and an ultimatum posed by the battle-hungry Lagdrosa Cyanmath. Zark answered Draconid's challenge for single combat, and fought a pitched battle, with the former eventually prevailing, thanks to the awakening of a mysterious new power. The raiders retreated after the battle, and the party were rewarded for their efforts. The day after, our heroes took on a job to retrieve some stolen goods for the local blacksmith, but soon realised that the task was a ruse to incriminate the foreman. With the blacksmith dealt with, the party enjoyed a day of downtime, where Arthur finally managed to fashion a companion out of his purchased materials. Gwen, Sasha and Zark tried to gain a better understanding of the latter's latent potential, and Delman spent the day studying Dragonlore. During the night, Delman was haunted by an unwelcome visitor in his dreams, causing an outburst of powerful frost magic. As he was carried outside, Delman's magic froze his surroundings, much to the horror of his companions. And now we return as the Tyranny of Dragons continues.
Okay, and welcome back, one and all, to Hoard of the Dragon Queen. I haven't got the bot turned on, Doom. I'll turn the bot on now. So you can do that later. Yeah, I knew there was a reason I forgot to turn the bot on.
Watching you, Mr. DM.
Why do you need to keep... Why do you like the bird so much?
I don't know. Okay.
What is wrong with you people? But anyway, we're back playing again. So, I think, as I said last time, we're probably going to go back a couple of minutes. So basically, last time, Delman had a little bit of a bedwetting incident, except rather than it being the bed, it was kind of the whole building. So yeah.
And it was a little cold.
And it was very, very cold. So speaking of this real cold incident, oh, there we go. Bot's actually on now. Okay. So we're going to go back a couple of minutes, and I'm going to say that as sort of all this is happening, I would say around the time that Nighthill and Zark were running down the stairs, this commotion would have been enough to wake up Blaine and Gwen, because I believe everyone else was together. Okay, so you're in your rooms and you just suddenly feel this chill. There isn't really any frost in your room, but you can kind of, you can just like see running, well, you can hear running from outside. So, what do you guys do?
Did we forget to make sure the fire stays on?
I don't know. Maybe?
By the sounds of it, maybe we should see what's going on out there.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Am I still passed out?
Yeah, we've just basically gone a couple of minutes back in time, so you're kind of running out the building at the time these guys are waking up. I'm just going back for their perspective.
And was that getting out of bed and probably huddling more in my coat than usual and going out, going to the hall, opening the door, looking out in the hall.
So, as you go through the hall, quite like the scene I described last time, you can see that there is very thick frost on the walls. The stairs are very slippery when you go down them, but you can see that sort of as you move forward, the area behind you just seems to be turning to water. It's kind of just basically frostier ahead of you, but it's gradually growing less frosty behind you.
I'm not sure I want to go that way. Aren't we just past winter? But, well, I guess. Let's see what's going on.
I'm right behind you.
I'm following the trail. I'm guessing outside and
Yep.
then
Okay.
following the
I'll do the
voices,
same.
sound of voices.
So I would say about the time you get to the gates of the keep, you just see a flash of blue, and then suddenly, you can kind of like see it from the edge of the gates that the ground just looks unnaturally frosty, just a little bit past your field of vision. I assume you guys go forward?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you go forward around the corner, you just see Delamain on the floor. You see Zark it looks like he just leapt away from something, and Arthur looks absolutely horrified.
What's going on here?
Body hurts. Ow.
That was horrifying to look at. Without looking horrifying.
What did you do to him?
I held her off open. What did you?
Yeah, just saw that face on the stream.
That has to be one of your emotes.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Anyway, sorry, go exactly off topic.
I'm just kind of stood back, just looking puzzled at this, just what the hell is happening. Is Delamain awake at this point?
So, yeah, I said at the very end of the last session that Delamain just, he took a gasp of breath in, so he's just bolted upright at this moment.
As he's done this, has the frost immediately started to dissipate? Or is it still there?
Still there.
Okay, so I'm going to be just stood with a mace in hand, pretty much half naked, so that I was in bed unarmored, just kind of looking at him.
I'll tenaciously step towards him to check if he's okay.
I'll cast Reduce Flame just to keep my hands warm.
Little man, okay.
Yes, I'm fine.
So, safe to come close.
I think so. Should have stopped by now.
I'd like to go closer and help Delamain to his feet if he's not already.
Did I hurt anyone?
Did I take damage when holding him?
No, you didn't. You rolled a 19 on your con save, so you were fine.
You very cold.
Oh.
I feel like rubbing my arms where I was carrying him.
I'm terribly sorry. I need to go.
Want to tell us what this is about?
What to wear?
You would not understand.
Try me.
Is the governor still around us?
Governor,
Did he come with us?
yeah, Governor Nighthill followed you out. He hasn't said anything yet, but he doesn't really know what to make of this. Actually, roll a perception check. Yeah, let me see what you rolled. Okay, on a 7, right. You're not really paying much attention to your surroundings. You're still pretty rattled, but yeah, the governor is just standing there off to the side. He's just got his arms folded and he's just giving you a quizzical look. But that's all you're aware of for the time being. I think he's just waiting for you guys to talk before he interjects.
Is there anyone else around, like, of any guards around watching?
Not that you noticed.
I'd rather not talk about it here. I'm terribly sorry. I'll try and run back inside.
You
I
see
will
Zork magic
keep playing
like
with-
yours? You see Zork magic like yours? This happened to Zork?
No, this should not happen to you.
I'm speaking only to Delman now. You're gonna have to explain. There's questions. You're gonna have to explain. Not just to us. Others are.
Yes.
I'd like to have a look around just to see if I can see anyone around at this point. Can I?
Same perception, please.
Sure.
Okay, on a 17, you cast your eyes upward towards the walls and you can see that there are quite a few guards looking down. Not really looking at you specifically, it's more that they're turning to each other, discussing things and pointing.
Weapons present or
No, they're just curious. Like, you can't see any arms. They're basically just in they're in their armor, of course, because they're probably guarding during the night. But it just seems more like they're gossiping as opposed to thingy. But they look... Yeah, at 17, you can see that, yeah, they look quite troubled by this. I'd also actually say, at the same time that you notice this, Arthur, a couple of guards actually come down, or... Sorry, they come around the corner. And they run up to the governor and they go, Governor Nightel, are you all right? What happened? Your house seems to be covered in frost. The governor replies, yes, I have no idea what's happened. It would seem that, and he points over to Delman's conjunction, it would seem to have something to do with one of our heroes. He seems quite troubled by this, and the guards go, "Oh, they can't come back inside, surely. You can't say. I know they saved the town. I know they did a lot for us. But we can't lose you. I obviously can't tell you what to do, but send them somewhere else. Just don't let them inside back the keep." Governor Nighthill kind of looks towards them, looks back towards Delman and puts her hand to his chin, and he just kind of stands there, not really saying anything for a few moments. If any of you guys want to interject.
All of us are used to sleeping on the road. Can you point us somewhere where we can make camp? I understand if you don't want us to come inside again tonight.
Governor Nighthill rubs his hand on his chin for a few more moments, and as he goes to open his mouth again, you hear some frenzied footsteps coming from back inside the keep, and Sasha actually walks out and butts her way through both the guards, actually. She seems to be in quite a hurry. And she, also looking quite shocked, looks towards Delman. And then she gives a look towards you, Gwen, and just nods. As she does so, she turns to the governor and says, Governor Nighthill, what's going on out here? I heard there was a racket, but oh no, looking towards Delman, and she says, oh no, it would seem that my experiment was it backfired. once
Do
again,
I hear her say that?
yes, you do. And once
I'll,
again,
I'll interject.
Yeah.
No. This has nothing to do with you. This is
no,
me.
Delamain, remember, you had another sample of the potion I gave to Zark. I took a blood sample from you both, remember? And she holds the 2 vials up that she took from Zark the previous day.
Trying to shush Delman.
And she turns to Nighthill after she says this and says, look, he would never admit it. I mean, we haven't known him very long, but he does seem rather proud. And, well, as you said, as you've all said, they're heroes. And, well, they are just trying to defend me and my broken reputation. If there's anyone here who is to blame, then please, I'll take my leave from the keep here. This shouldn't happen again. If he's just left alone, it's probably out of his system now. I was just so curious after what happened with Zark. I just thought that they were similar. Please, Governor, forgive me. The Governor looks at Sasha with a mixture of both confusion and not anger, more disappointment, and says, Sasha, I can't thank you enough for the work that you've done, but you can't do experiments like this. I know in our younger years you would do things like this all the time, but I have responsibilities now. I have a town to run. I've got people who have confidence in me. You can't do things like this, especially without telling me.
I will step up next to her.
Okay.
Is he finished speaking?
He wouldn't snap if you interrupted him.
It wasn't just her. I encouraged her.
He turns to Sasha and says, is that correct, Sasha? Sasha kind of just gives you a slight shake of the head, and she just goes, it's true that Gwen took an interest in my experiments, but the decision to do so was my own. I can't hold, and she puts a hand on your shoulder as she says this, Gwen, I can't hold Gwen or anyone else here responsible. It was my curiosity, and it was my mistake. I probably can't do it tonight, but I'll have my stuff moved out in the next couple of days. My shop should hopefully be repaired in the next couple of weeks, so I suppose it's about time I left anyway. She kind of like releases...
Taking her hand.
Yeah.
Stepping back a little, like half a step.
Yeah. So with this, the guards seem implicated by this. They saw the experiments with Zark the previous day, so they believe that this is probably the case. So they kind of look a bit scornfully towards Delamain, but then they just shake their heads and they walk back inside. And as the governor Sasha finishes talking, Sasha gently takes her hand away from yours, Gwen, and she just starts walking back at a hurried pace towards her hut. And with that, you guys are alone with the governor, and the governor just goes, I'm not sure if I entirely believe her story, but I know you meant us no harm, but perhaps it might be for the best if you moved on soon. In the honor of the commitment that I've already made to you, I'll allow you to stay here maybe 3 more days if you need to. Well, after that, I'm afraid you'll need to move on, at least until you can give me a better explanation as to whatever this was. He looks expectantly towards the party for some sort of answer at this point.
I believe there are few answers to be found right at this point. Maybe we can try to get some more sleep and look at it in clear light in the morning.
Yes.
And I believe Sasha was making progress, and we might have the information to move on soon. Anyway.
Good.
I'd like to just extend one hand at this point to him and thank you for your hospitality.
My feelings towards you haven't changed, but you must understand I have to think about my people.
I understand.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
I would request that a couple of you sleep in the same room as him tonight. I can't. If this happens again, I'll have to ask you to leave immediately. I don't think I'll be able to overlook this a second time.
We'll sleep with an open window. Worst comes to worst, throw him out of it.
Nihil can't help but chuckle very slightly at that comment, and he turns and goes back inside the keep, leaving you lot alone.
Once he's far enough away, I'd like to turn to Delman. Well,
And before Delman responds, Bug, Zark got hit with a breath attack by Landrosa a few episodes ago.
He did.
Was the effect anything similar? Oh, as far as Zark could be able to tell.
Roll intelligence check.
Intelligence.
Just straight intelligence.
maybe a dump stat as
12.
well. Oh, it's 12, that's
And Christmas, my dump stat.
Okay. As you are looking at this situation, you cast your mind back to your fight with Langdrosa. This wasn't... The intensity that you felt at that moment from his electric breath was similar, but this was unstable. This was... like, this affected a wide area. You could tell that the breath was more surgical. It was intense, but it was intended for, you know, a single target. But this was like... I don't really know how best to put it. It's kind of like trying to compare sort of like a smoke bomb to an explosion.
Okay.
Delman, how dressed are you sleeping? Like, are your arms and legs completely covered?
I don't know what I'd be wearing actually.
Delman
Do you
looks,
sleep in the...
I was just
Did
about
I
to say,
carry
Delman
on?
looks down and he realizes he's naked. Sonic. And then he wakes
Okay,
up.
I want
and
to
that's
know
actually
if-
a dream.
I want to know
Sorry.
if anything is showing on his arms or legs.
That's down to your discretion, Delman. I'll just let you retroactively say how you were dressed.
No, I'd have some sort of bed clothing on. You wouldn't be able to see anything on my body that you can't usually.
Okay. Delman, we need to give answers in the morning. Anything you can tell us now?
Have some
I-
magic and
Want to take a short walk?
I just lost control. Magic is hard to control.
Little
Sometimes in my sleep it bursts out.
Like when Zark mad?
Yes, like the big one. Yes, it's random.
His
Does it happen?
madness,
So
often and so strong.
his anger is maybe a minute. This was much longer.
it is not
No,
your
it's
first
This was
time
not something.
you have this?
This hasn't
insight.
happened in a few years.
Can I roll insight?
You can do.
I'm
Yeah,
I'll just straight up tell you, I'm absolutely not telling the truth.
I mean, I mean, we'll still do insight and deception just figure. So that's Arthur's insights, and you roll deception, please, Delman. Okay, so Arthur, you kind of it's probably because you're half asleep at this point, and you can't quite see Delman's face properly. But I mean, in his own awkward way, he appears to be sincere.
Is there
Like
still
I said,
frost
I
on the
was
ground?
just how do I say this? I was reacting to his words not matching up to what I'd seen before. So, do I need to roll for that? Or is it simple? His words and his comparison didn't make sense to me.
I'm just trying to think of what I would actually do. Let me just see. I'd probably say, yeah, go on. I'd probably say that you could probably roll insight as well with advantage, just because you're. And then Delman once again rolls deception. Okay, so. Are you rolling insight, sorry, Gwen? Ah, there we go. Okay, so as you...
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
I didn't have the D&D sheet open.
Oh, it's okay. So I'll take the first of Delman as well. It's a fail either way for him. So as you point out the contradictions in Delman's story in comparison to what you said, you can see that his face kind of contorts a little bit as if he's looking quite uncomfortable at your line of questioning, and you can tell that he's probably at least holding back some elements of the truth from you.
Let little man rest. This not help.
Again, speaking only to Delman. Maybe we could take a little walk before going back to bed. Just a few steps.
Are you speaking to me in
Yes.
Nomish? Or
Yes.
In Nomish, okay. I'll. Very well. You seem trustworthy, at least.
Delman and I are gonna take a short walk before we get back to rest.
Okay, were you going to have a walkie?
No, I'm talking to the others now.
Oh, sorry, I apologize.
Alright.
So, if you want to head back inside, it's at your discretion.
I start to notice I'm not wearing a shirt. I kind of put my arms over my chest. Yeah, it's a bit chilly. I start walking back inside.
You want Sog follow?
You
Alright.
can go back inside if you want, Zach. We're just taking a few steps.
I'll
Should be inside in a few minutes. Won't be long.
I'll go back into the keep, but I'll like stand on top of there waiting for them to come back.
I go back inside the keep.
And like a sad dog just sitting there waiting.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that Max did follow you out of the keep line. He's pretty much
Yeah.
attached to your hip.
Just follow me, yeah.
In that case, moving a little away so we are out of earshot if we're talking quietly. Like maybe moving towards one of the trees. I believe there were trees.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few
little
trees
ways
as
off,
you can
but not too far.
as you can see on the map, yeah.
So, assuming that's, I'm assuming that's going to be in a better environment for Dalman, like being near trees. Are you following? Are you coming along?
Yeah.
Do you know what happened tonight?
Yeah, I have a pretty good idea. It's happened before. Not in a while. I'm surprised it did. I thought I had control over him by now.
Him?
Mm. 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 What do you know of dragons?
Very little.
Mm. I've learned much in the past few years, but even I don't have the answer. At this point, I'll like take my shirt off, and at this point, you can see all the scales I have on me. I have some on my left arm, some up my back towards my neck.
Delamain, as you take off your shirt, roll perception.
Is this out of my line of sight, by the way?
Unless you followed.
I'm stood
Yeah,
up.
we went into the trees, by the trees.
Yeah, so I'd say that it
Between the
probably
trees.
will be. Okay, Delamain, you don't notice anything.
Cool.
Although,
I did.
Gwen, you do notice that. So, to where did you say the scales were, Delamain?
There's some running down my left arm, and then there's some on my back, creeping up towards my neck. There's some on one of my legs too, but I didn't show that.
There are
Just took
now
my shirt off.
there are now a few scales near your right shoulder, from Gwen's perspective.
I didn't always have these. My eyes didn't always look like this.
You came too close.
How much can I trust you, Gwen? You will not betray what I say to you.
I have no reason to tell other people's secrets.
Oh. I always assumed people would try and use me for nefarious purposes if they knew.
I probably wouldn't have
I
tried
didn't.
to use you, even if I wanted to.
Someone would. Someone would, I'm sure.
There's people out there interested in using everyone. You just need to write the right bio. It's there. This doesn't change it. You're a magic user. You know that.
I didn't always have magical powers. I was fairly normal gnome a few years ago. I came across a dragon. It was dying, I think. And,
A white one?
yes. When I got close, I don't know what happened. When I awoke, he had gone. But he'd not gone very far. I feel his presence in here.
It went into you?
Yes. Then I look like this, and now I can use magic. I tried to search for a reason why, how
You
to
think-
get him out, but I've found nothing.
It's like a merger? Like in a way you're his host? Unwilling?
You could say that, yes.
Interesting.
He hasn't spoken to me in years until tonight. He said he's growing stronger. If that's true, this may happen more often. I thought I suppressed him. But I
Maybe
may no
getting
longer
so
have
close
control.
to the blue dragon and that half dragon. There's been a lot of dragons, half dragons, drakes. Maybe the contact triggered something.
Perhaps.
You might want to be careful to cover those scales, especially now.
At this point, I guess I'll look to my new patch of scales. Yes. What?
So, Sasha helped us. I'll have to see her in the morning.
She didn't
That
have
is
to
correct.
cover for me. I should not have hung around. I'll leave in the morning.
We're still looking for that scholar, the one who knows about the dragon cult. I don't know what they know of dragons, but since their cult is based around them, they might have some answers. Also, do you know his name?
The Cryolock.
Cryolock. Who knows? I think that scholar we were asked to look for. Like, maybe he can help us, but maybe he can help you.
Do not mention this to anyone. If the cult found me, I know they would try and use my power.
Did I say to ask him? I said he might have information that can be useful. He's a scholar. You're a scholar.
We tried to find out as much as we can.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And he will not be suspicious if, as a scholar of dragons, you're interested in comparing notes. That does not mean you need to show him.
Your words have merit.
You don't need to show him yourself. Just talk about what you studied lately, what he has studied. Maybe there's something he can learn, and if that's the case, he'll probably give you information. I don't know what he knows, but maybe there's something in that that helps you.
You're the first person I've told of this. Did not think it wise to
It's
flaunt
probably not.
my secret. You
Everyone has
seem
secrets.
trustworthy. Seem to have no reason to use it, so...
I have the power
Thank you,
I
Gwen.
want for myself. I don't need to use someone else's power. Let's get back inside. Try to get some more rest.
Oh, yeah, I'll go in.
Okay.
Yeah, going inside.
So you
together.
both go inside the building now. Okay. So I would say at this point, no one is really looking over the walls anymore. If you approach the spectacle's over, so you go.
I
over
am.
with- Well, yeah, other than Zark. But no one else is really watching. So you guys can just walk straight back in and go to sleep if you prefer.
Yeah, picking up Zark. And
So
then
glad
let
no
him-
one attacked you. Dark worried.
Look through a window and I'm
Thank you
impressed
for your
watching
worries,
Gwen
Zach.
pick up Zark.
Just folds him, puts him into a pocket. Huh? I've never seen anyone literally do that before. Huh? Okay, so you guys head back inside and have a rest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to say that you guys sleep in the next morning, so you get a long rest, so restore all of your spell slots. I don't think anyone's really used any recently. Actually,
used
no,
rage
Zark
cards.
uses rages, so yeah, you get
Mhm.
those back. So let me just go ahead and reset you. There you go. Okay, so you get up the next morning. Nighthill, you can see once again is having breakfast if anyone goes downstairs, but he just seems to be staring at his food. He doesn't really seem to be. He doesn't have much of an appetite today. So, what do you guys do?
I shall go and eat some breakfast.
Okay, so as you go to the breakfast table, you can see a spread of meats and vegetables, much the same as you did yesterday.
I'm just like looking around to see if Gwen's about, and then pick up a piece of meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's everyone else doing?
I go and get some breakfast too.
Same.
Getting some meat for me and Max.
Smiling at Zark's antics.
Yeah, I mean,
And
you can.
probably throwing him a fruit. Is there an apple? I like an apple. Throw him an apple.
He does that thing in
Ah.
cartoons where he just sort of like does it like a buzzsaw. It's just like this, like the cord. He just throws it behind himself.
Yeah. Nope. So I'm not eating meat. What?
The governor is just sipping some soup, but every now and again you can actually, yeah, he's cracking a bit of a smile at this, but he looks troubled.
I'm probably one of the last to come down. Again, I was a bit tired from what I've been doing the previous day.
That's fair.
Be constantly making my defender.
Is that just
Does he
following you
follow you
around, by
around?
the way?
It would have been just sleeping by the door downstairs.
Does it
Oh,
actually
it
need to
sleeps.
sleep?
I don't know if it does actually.
I'm just
Check
about to
that.
say
It's
that
changed.
doesn't seem like something that you need to do considering the nature of it. But anyway, so it just follows you down. So actually, I don't think really Nighthill's seen this before. So you come downstairs, and this, what was it? A Carnosaurus? Did you describe it as?
Yes.
Yeah, this dinosaur metallic thing just follows him, and he just kind of drops his spoon as he sees it because it's like, what? What? And he just goes, did you get a pet
right,
or something? Well, what is that?
Oh, I made this yesterday. This is Robert. Robert, this is Governor Nighthill.
You made this, yes. You made all of. You did this.
Zark, help!
Oh yeah, Zark did help quite a bit actually.
I did help a bit.
He looks.
yes.
He looks to Zark. Looks to Blaine. Looks to you, Arthur. Looks back to Zark. Looks back to Blaine. Looks back to Zark again. Looks to the Carnosaurus. Looks to you, Arthur. Just goes, how?
Oh well, if you would like to know
Lots of hard work.
that as well, yes. You see, you're going to infuse metal in this particular
No,
manner
no,
with these
it's
runes
fine.
right here, and-
It's fine. It's
Marcus
fine.
was nice enough to lend Arthur the use of the forge.
I
And talking of that, I'm going into my bag and grabbing out the papers we found. Like I had some papers bundled up.
yes, you did. You found
But I
some
found
incriminating
some
documents,
missing
didn't you? Yeah.
And actually, I had a little look in the back office while they were busy,
I'm just trying to sneak
Um,
pieces of meat
just-
without Gwen noticing while she's talking.
thinking Marcus has a lot of work ahead of him, so I wanted to see if I can give him a hand at least cleaning up that bit. I found a few interesting bits of paper, and I'll hand those over to
Okay.
the governor.
So he takes the documents from you. He gives them a cursory look over. His eyes widen as he does so because he wasn't really expecting for Brandon to be such an idiot and keep detailed notes of his own incriminating activities, and to keep what appears to be, I think it was like a blackmail letter about the guy's just basically threatening Brandon, and it's just like, yes, I think this will build quite a strong case against Brendan. I thank you for this.
You're welcome, and I hope going through that paperwork, Brandon was not skilled. in that department either.
No. He was not. He wasn't his. He wasn't. He was no John Raymer.
Yes. A sad story.
Anyway,
I
So-
do hope finding these and sorting some of the back will help Marcus in the transition he needs. He seems like a smart enough guy.
I should expect that it will. Listen, I understand that he's probably going. He's been in the process of moving the shop since the other day. It might be worth going down there today, see if he's actually there at the moment. In fact, did you tidy up the forge after you finished? Looking over to Arthur.
My eyes go wide briefly, and then I start making my way towards the door.
You
quite quickly.
probably. It's probably already too late if you haven't. Marcus is the type of guy who would know if there was a nail out of place.
I'm not sure that's the
How they
case
tell?
here. Brendan did not leave many nails in drawers.
I suppose he would just assume that it was Brendan's fault. Yes, that back office was enough to send a sane man. Well, perhaps not so sane. But yes, I would probably go and
Unbelief, yes.
I would probably go and see him regardless.
That is a good plan. Has Sasha said anything more about her patient? Has he come around yet?
Sasha, we had a conversation after. Well, a little bit earlier, actually. She was close with him. It seemed that the commotion last night. She was about to coax him awake, but she had to break off to deal with the situation. I haven't really had a chance to talk to her since, but I'm not sure. Maybe it might be today, maybe it might be in a couple. I'm no physician.
True. Let's hope it's sooner rather than later.
Okay, and with that, Nighthill just proceeds to sip on his soup.
What's a thought on now run through my bag and then pull out one of those maps of the, I think it was an encampments you said?
Is this the thing that you got from the printing press?
Yes.
Yeah, so you pull it out.
Yeah, I'd like to show it to Nighthill. Do you know where this is exactly?
Nighthill looks over the map and I don't know if, yeah, it was a map, but it was also a list of detailed directions of how to access this location from Greenest Keep. So he looks over it and the first thing he says is, Why are the directions to this location from my keep? Where did you get this?
Something we found where the printing presses were. Where we found the little shit. He was creating copies of this, amongst other things.
Okay. Nighthill remembers seeing something in those notes that Gwen gave her. Looks over the document again, rubs his chin, and after a few moments puts the two pieces of paper side by side and says, "It's probably safe to assume that after they attacked Greenest, this is where they were falling back to. Maybe the location of their camp wasn't established at that time, or maybe it was kept a secret, just in case we actually captured anyone. Ugh. Crafty.
You don't suppose you know what this area is, do you, though?
Not exactly, no. I don't tend to get out of Greenest very much these days. But these directions seem pretty detailed if you follow them. The landmarks seem right that they're identifying here. I mean, based on what I see, maybe it's about a day, half a day from here.
Okay then. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll roll it back up and I'll put it back in my bag.
Right. So Zark went outside to sharpen his axe. Zark, as you're sharpening his axe, out of sorry, let me just grab my map here. So out of this building here, you see Marlowe, Sebastian, and Castilian appear as a trio, and they walk over to you, and Sebastian actually addresses you and goes, "Ah, hello, Zarka. We haven't spoken in a few days. How fare you?"
I'm just like trying to recognise the man. Mm.
It's me, Zarka. Sebastian, the guy you travelled with for like 3 days. You don't remember me?
Sark not used to such nice greeting.
My friend, you should make better friends then. Well, I was actually coming out here to ask where everyone else was. Are they about, by any chance?
They eating breakfast. I point to the building I've just come out of.
Ah, good. We're probably going to be leaving fairly soon. I just wanted to explain the situation to everyone else, and actually also to the governor as well. So, if you don't mind, I'll leave you to whatever it is you're doing. And with that, Sebastian, Marlowe, and Castilian move past you. And you guys did any of you go outside after talking to Nighthill, or did you just kind of stay sitting there eating breakfast?
I would have quickly started rushing something down myself before I leave. I probably would have been a little bit before I left.
Okay. I'd say that just before you do leave, that the trio come through the door, and the governor just turns around to the three and just goes, "Ah, I didn't think that you would be leaving so soon." Oh, right. I don't suppose I actually mentioned this to any of you yet, considering the commotion. I'm not even sure why this is happening, but it would appear that Castilian wants a change in profession.
Looking at Castilian with a raised eyebrow.
Ah, well, after torturing all those people the other day, I forgot how much I like dealing with people, so I'm going to become a merchant.
I'm sure
What the
you'll do
fuck?
great.
What did you say to it, Gwen?
I'm sure you'll do great.
Ah, that's what I said to these two.
I just kind of nod.
So,
You work for a clothing store?
Sebastian steps forward at this point and he just goes, allow me to explain. After what happened with Nub, it would seem that, yeah, Castilian kind of wanted to. We knew each other rather well when we were younger, and he has this itch that he's been wanting to scratch. He's not really been happy as the custodian for a while.
Maybe lady in big place, pointing to where Sasha is, have cream for that.
No, it's not like that. Listen, basically, the governor gave Castilian permission to leave Greenest. Sergeant McGuff will be taking over as, well, captain of the guard and custodian. I suppose there really isn't anyone else, but this life isn't really. It's the only one I know, and well, I mean, there's worse people to travel the road with than Castilian, and well. Marlowe, do you want to explain to them what you want to do? Marlowe just kind of looks sheepish, looking down, and Sebastian just gives him a nudge in his back and he just goes, "Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Listen, I've really appreciated the time that I've spent with you all, but..." And he kind of takes
If you
it.
want to stay with Sebastian?
It's something like that, yes. I realized the other day, he kind of like takes the broken bow off his quiver. I'm not ready to be an adventurer like you.
I'm sure our paths will cross again.
I,
No
Maybe
rush.
things are different then.
I sincerely hope so. I'll probably go back to Bear Dusk, have a little time with my family. I mean, I'm sure that things will be a bit less eventful there than they are here.
Hey, you'll have some stories to tell when you go back.
You never know.
Incidentally, Gwen, do that perception check if you want to.
Those people aren't Gwen. Meaning, for instance, really rolling it.
Okay, 24. What were you trying to tell exactly, Gwen?
No, I said you might want to
Oh.
perception me to find out how much I'm bullshitting him.
Okay, you know what? I'm actually going
About
to...
you're going to do well.
No, what I'll do is I'll use your perception roll to see how well you're able... Oh, sorry, not perception. Screw it, I'll roll it myself. Sorry, I got a little bit confused as to exactly what you meant.
Yeah, I saw it. If
I'm just going to roll a flat.
Custodian is paying any attention to what
I'm just going to...
then...
No, he's not.
He doesn't know, yeah.
To be honest, even if he did, I don't think he would care. He's not exactly the most well-adjusted individual. So, anyway, the governor turns around to Castilian and said, "I understand you still have some old contacts about the town." And Castilian goes, yes. I'll just go around them for a wee bit and see if I can work my charm. And he kind of like does this weird thing with his eyebrows. It's really unsettling. You've never quite seen anything like it. It's kind of mesmerizing, really. And after that awkward silence,
Frozen smile and nod. Frozen smile and nod.
Sebastian just goes, we should probably actually get out there and do something, shouldn't we? Both? Cassine was still doing the eyebrow thing, just stops, goes, "Oh yeah, daylight's burning. Well, see you all later." And he runs out the door.
Safe travels, Sebastian. And Marlo, you too. Safe travels.
I'm not quite sure how safe we'll be, but I appreciate the gesture. And with that, Marlo and Sebastian turn around and leave. Nighthill looks like he's got a minor migraine after that interaction. Just kind of has one head in his hands.
Face palm.
Kinda, yeah.
Interesting times.
You have no idea.
He walks up beside me. Rawr.
Wait, that thing can make sounds?
Yeah, it can make little roars. I haven't taught it anything yet, though.
As long as it doesn't start chewing on my furniture, I suppose I don't much care.
Look at Robert. Robert looks back.
Anyway, I need some time alone. Maybe you should head out
think-
and see
yeah.
if you've got any errands to run.
Well, I think we try to
I-
see if we can find Marcus and get a few things done around town.
And I
And
think I
I'll
might
see
need
about
to
some-
apologise to the foreman.
Anywhere Zork practice with arcs?
Oh yeah, we were gonna build you another dummy. We'll get to that. And with that, I'm moving Zark towards the door, going out myself.
Just pushing him slowly.
Clicking down. Yeah. Turning
Oh,
his
fine
attention
lady,
there,
so
like,
Okay, so you guys head out. So are a few of you heading towards Marcus's shop, did you say?
I would say we'd probably all be moving together at this point, other than Zark.
I mean, unless you want to do something else.
Oh no, I got pushed into this. I'm coming.
Oh, fair enough.
Literally.
I tried to get you out of the room because the governor wanted you to be alone. Like, I was moving you into the courtyard. Not further.
Okay.
Do you want to look for a door? Zark?
So I'll come with.
Don't worry, Dark. You can cut down some trees later. They'll make fine dummies. Point over at the nearby woods. See, there's trees over there.
So look at the trees, look at Gwen. Look at the trees, look at Gwen.
And you
And I suddenly
decide
think
that maybe it's not the
oh.
smartest idea.
Yeah.
For firewood. We need firewood. You can sell it to the governor. Yes.
Still, very narrowed eyes looking at Arthur.
I'm not looking back.
Don't you have a forge to clean up?
Maybe. Yes. Bye. I move a bit quicker away with my defender beside me, keeping it between me and Gwen.
Nothing can keep you safe. Nothing. Okay, so you head towards the forger. Does anyone else follow?
I
Yeah.
follow Arthur.
Yeah, I'll follow too.
Okay, so Arthur, Zark, and oh, excuse me, I'm really sorry. Arthur, Zark, and Blaine, you get to the foreman shop, and there seems to be a bit of activity. The door is slightly ajar, and there's no smoke coming from the chimney, but you can definitely tell that there's some activity going on inside.
Take a deep breath, and then I step inside, leaving Robert's outside.
You leave. Oh, you leave Rob outside. Okay.
Yes.
Alright, so you walk into the forge, and it actually looks pretty much immaculate. It's really strange. You wouldn't have thought, in the time that you've been away from the shop, that it would be humanly possible to clean this mess up. But lo and behold, it looks like the shop just opened. And you can just see Marcus behind the desk, just wiping down a surface with a cloth.
Hey, good morning. I'm just going to apologise ahead of time. I got a little bit carried away.
I wouldn't worry so much about that. I could tell which mess was Brendan's and which was yours, and, well, at least your mess was out of somebody who was actually doing their job. So I suppose on this occasion I can overlook it, and he gives you a wink.
Thank you. At that point, I kind of clip my tongue, and Robert comes in through the doorway.
Okay, as he comes in, Marcus, again, quite like Nighthill, looks wide-eyed, just goes, what's this exactly?
It's a bit of a change of a design from back when I used to work on Warforged. Same principles for the most part, but it's kind of what I got a bit caught up in yesterday.
Marcus will walk over, and he's not quite patting it, but he's just kind of, like examining the contours. I assume you let him do this?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so he just kind of like marvels at your handiwork for a few minutes, and he just goes, John would have liked you very much. It was a shame that you weren't his vice apprentice rather than Brendan. And with that, he will go back behind the desk and he'll just clear his throat for a few moments. And then just, I suppose you might be here about payment for, well, for your services.
Truth be told, I was mostly here to apologise for the mess I made. But I was
Well,
expecting to have a day of cleaning ahead of me.
well, what did Brendan promise you?
He promised a reduction on costs for materials.
How much?
20%.
I'll give you 30. Does that
Are
sound
you
reasonable?
Sure?
He looks up and gives you a very serious look. You may very well have just saved the legacy of my mentor. As you can see, no one really comes around this part of town very often. They lost confidence in Brendan and, well, by extension, me. and my mentor. An extra 10% reduction is probably not enough to thank you for the reputation and face that we've saved because of you. And your compatriots, of course.
Thank you.
As he kind of like leans under the desk for a moment, and he sort of takes out several pouches of what you assume is gold and places them on the counter. And he just says, take one for yourself and give one each to the others. I'm sure that it's probably not very much right now, but take it as an additional token of appreciation.
Thank you. But you'll be seeing a lot of business from me, I hope you know.
Well, if you make things like that with what I say, I'd be more than happy to help. He extends his hand to shake yours, Arthur.
I shake his back, heartedly.
Yeah. This is by... Sorry, go on.
Since it's being quiet from inside, no screaming, no arguing, I'll venture in as well. Like, in the beginning, I was waiting outside this.
Okay, so did you say you head inside?
Yeah.
Okay, so you head inside at the moment that they're shaking hands, so Marcus just acknowledges you and just goes, yes, good morning. I just handed over the reward that I promised to Nighthill to Arthur, yeah. I also gave an extra 10% off the reduction that Brendan promised you.
That's very generous of you.
When you start
Yeah.
selling new weapons.
I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. Hopefully soon. Brendan left this shop in a more sorry state than I'd realized. I literally just finished cleaning up.
You did an amazing job on this cleanup.
Oh, I've been cleaning up
I'm
Brendan's
looking
mess for
around
years.
like, man.
This was nothing. But
Oh, on that note, actually, on his messes, I'm not much use around the forge, but I had a look around the office last night. And I found some papers that I handed over to Governor Naito. I'm sure he'll let you know. Brendan, well, his documentation wasn't the best, but when he found all the pieces together, he had lists of what he moved, what he put where.
he puts his head in his hands as he hears this, and he just goes, Brendan, you'd be dangerous if you weren't so stupid.
I believe the governor wants these for a trial, but I'm sure he'll give you the numbers.
Yes, I'll talk to Governor Nighthill about this later. I'm sure
Oh.
that the investigation will be enlightening.
Though, considering the rest of the bookkeeping I found, some of them didn't look like it made much sense, so I'm not sure how correct it is, but it might give you a little fuller picture.
Fortunately, I have my own ledger over at the mine. I could probably cross-reference this against, well, whatever nonsense Brendan has here and try to make some sense of it. As I said, I've cleaned up after him for years, so... if I only have to do it more and more time, I suppose in a way I should count myself fortunate.
On the note of cleaning up, there was also Joe's sister. Have you had a chance to talk to her?
Yes, I did. She was pretty distraught by what happened to Joe, as you would expect.
I can only imagine.
So
Do you think she would be willing to see me?
Not yet, unfortunately.
Good.
She She's in a pretty bad way. Sasha is going to pay her a visit in a couple of days, but to tell you the truth, as soon as I told her, she just slammed the door in my face and cried.
Alright, I'll talk with Sasha. I'm not sure how much longer we are in town. If there's a chance, I will go with Sasha. But something might come up that we have to leave town for a bit. If not, then I'm sorry. I won't be able to go.
This is a problem that we're going to have to deal with for... This is something that we've dealt with for a long... Well, Joel's dealt with it for a long time. Marcus is kind of like... This is a subject that he doesn't particularly want to talk about.
She is likely to have you guys to look out for her now.
Sasha is a good physician. I trust her with my life as much as anyone else in Greenest. Listen, if you don't mind, I want to just finish cleaning. Please, take your sack of gold and leave me in peace for a time, if you wouldn't mind.
I'd like to take out the key that he gave me and hand it over to him.
Ha! I almost forgot I gave you this. Thank you, Arthur. I apologize. I should probably ask, are you actually here for custom before you leave?
Actually, yes.
Scratch my head.
If you have them, I would like to have a handful of nails. To buy a handful of nails.
To be fair, what he actually does is he just he turns around, grabs a clutch of nails from behind and places them on the table and just goes, yours, take them.
Thank you very much.
They won't be free every time, but I think it's a pretty small price to pay for the good that you've done me and my business.
Just nodding and putting them in my bag.
How much better hand axe? I say, showing one of my smaller hand axes.
What was your question, Isaac?
Any better hand axe?
Okay. He looks over your hand axe for a few moments and just starts rifling through the back, and he just goes, apologies, the back isn't quite as well done as the front. Just give me a couple of minutes. I'll have to see if Brendan actually has anything that's salvageable. Okay. Whilst he's searching for that, do you guys do anything else?
I'll make sure the bags of gold are handed out to everybody.
I'm standing outside.
Okay, so do you guys actually inspect to see how much gold is inside the pouch?
Yep.
Okay, so everyone's pouch has 75 gold in it.
Nice.
Okay, so after a few minutes, Marcus comes back to the front, and he does have one hand axe, and he actually says, "Ha ha! It's been a while since I've seen this. Actually, I didn't think Brendan would actually keep anything of quality in his shop. This looks a little bit better, but I'm not really sure if this is within your price range. How much are you willing to spend here, my friend?"
How much is axe?
He looks it over, and okay, so let me just figure out what this will actually be. That reduction, so So he's kind of just looking over it, scratches his chin, considers the discount, and then he just says, "With the discounts that I promised you, it would be 350 gold."
Ooh. I guess I've not really picked up anything to sell either.
What's she short by?
I just show half of my pouch. It contains 315 gold, 315.
I take the pouch I was just given and I put it into his pouch. So you gain 75 more gold.
Alrighty then.
Okay. Do you buy that, Zach, then?
I do.
Okay, so seeing that you produce the gold, he hands it over to you, and you acquire a +1 hand axe, Zach.
Yay.
And as he hands it over to you, he just goes, "Take care of that. That's actually worth more than probably the majority of the scrap Brandon has back there."
So use this good.
Careful of the trees. I give a sideways glance towards Gwen.
Hey. I'll give the gold, rest of the
I'm
gold.
moving
back
out
to-
the door, pretending not to hear what they.
Okay.
I'll give the change back to Alpha.
No, keep it. I have gold. You'll need some spending change for basic needs.
Okay. And
Yes, you're looking shocked. He's not quite used to people being so nice to him.
just before we carry on, are you guys okay to go for a bit longer? It's 10:30 now.
I can.
I'm okay. Sky?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Continue on for about another half hour. Will that be okay?
Sounds
Yes.
Are you muted, Sky?
No,
Or,
Can hear.
I
Can
just
hear
heard you
Sky.
speak.
Oh, I can't hear him at all.
I'm quiet.
Too quiet.
Sky
Oh my
AM
God.
ASMR. Okay. So we'll carry on for a little.
Webcam keeps going out of focus, but voice
Okay.
is normal.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why that is happening.
Okay, doke. So what do you guys do next?
Just admiring my new hand axe.
It is very shiny.
Putting it.
Was
It's
everything okay in there? I ask everyone.
That guy knows how to clean. Like, you wouldn't even recognize the place if I didn't know it was the same forge.
I hand you a bag of gold. Actually,
Oh.
would he have a bag of gold? Yeah, yeah.
Now you specified 5 bags of gold. Now, when you guys were there, Marlo
Oh,
was
it's
with you.
Marlo, yeah. Gosh. Yes, I hand you the other bag of gold.
Oh, thanks.
And just like that, Marlo's been cut out with Marlo.
I just don't tell Marlo.
Who is Smilo?
He was that quiet person that we talked to before.
Ah,
It's okay, you probably won't see him again for a while. I also hand one
Yeah.
to Delamain.
The guy who decided he didn't want to be an adventurer quite yet.
Do you wink to the camera
he
as you
took,
say that?
he took an arrow to
Arthur?
he took an arrow to the knee.
I had to
think
fight
it
the
was
urge
the
to
knife.
make that joke so hard earlier. Oh, I'm really sorry. Go
I
ahead.
think actually he broke his bow and couldn't fire any arrows, but
Oh,
and it was a dagger too. Oh well, he's a young guy. He might still find adventuring to his taste, more to his taste when he's a little more matured.
How long have we been standing outside chatting?
I'd probably just say a couple of minutes.
The whole time I've been sat on the floor with my ritual book out, casting Identify on Doom's dinosaur.
On Arthur's dinosaur.
Yeah.
Is it? it is technically magical in nature, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So, yeah, as you cast Identify, you can just see that there's a magic. It's not really like the magic that you're familiar with, though. There's just something a lot more industrial, I suppose, is the best way to put it. It's like it's been refined into something else. It's magic, but you feel that there's other elements mixed in there. It's as somebody who's probably only studied pure magic in their life, this is an odd concept to you.
God, I didn't realize that was so long.
Oh god, what's that? Sorry, let me just scroll down and see if there's anything else.
It's Steel Defender.
Oh, right, so it's just that we've got the Steel Defender. You get the impression, Delman, that this thing is probably, yeah, it doesn't it kind of behaves like a sentient being, but you get the impression that it probably would be quite robust, and even though it behaves like a sentient being, it probably wouldn't be affected by certain things in the same way a sentient being would. But you'd probably actually need to observe this thing a little bit more to really learn about it.
I want to pet it.
It's a fascinating creature, for certain.
I want to pet it. While this is going on.
Make a
Good luck,
dex, yeah.
I assume you let Zach do this, Arthur?
I do, yes.
Yeah. I'll let you determine what thing he does, because it is technically an extension of your PC.
It kind of think like a cat, where it kind of like arches it back a little bit and kind of twists a little as you do it. I'd say literally with a tongue, but it doesn't have a tongue, so
It just
it
tries to open. It opens its mouth, and you just kind of like see it open it a couple of times, and then it realizes, oh, I can't do that.
I'm just very happy at its response.
The dinosaur, not the dog.
Dino dog.
To be fair, I did pet the dog one first. Well, try to,
Right,
but
right.
I don't think anyone heard me say I wanted to pet it.
Do we need to get anything from in town?
I'd like to go see. There should be a general store, something like that. I don't think we found that last time.
I think I mentioned that one existed, but I don't think you visited it. Okay.
Sorry, was talking to Arsa in this point.
Oh, again,
we
I'm
didn't visit
really
it.
sorry.
Sorry.
All right then. There's a general store away. Which way is it? Do you have any idea which way it is?
I'd look by the central square.
Makes
Makes sense.
You know what? You don't really have to look for very long because you can hear vague Scottish shouting coming from the direction of the general store.
That's either a bar or a destination. Not sure what he found first. Or what he came to first.
So, as you guys approach the general store, yeah, it's Castilian. It's Castilian's voice coming from inside the general store. He sounds really excited about something. You're not really sure what. You're not sure you want to know, but I suppose you want to shop here.
Ready for the squad?
I don't know. Yeah, let's try.
I just
Okay.
wait outside.
Okay, so you open the door, and sure enough, Castilian is here on his own this time. Marlo and Sebastian aren't with him, and you just hear him say, "Ah, come on, Beatrice! Ah, just throw in a weird deal for me." And he just does the eyebrow thing again, flexing at her, and she just kind of puts a hand to her mouth as if she's kind of horrified and maybe a bit impressed, and then she just tilts it slightly towards Gwen and Arthur if she's entered. And goes, "Oh, yes, hello. How can I help you? Do you want to buy something, please?"
Hello, yeah. Is this a good time?
Yes, anytime's a good time. Oh, Castilian, I'm so sorry, I've got other customers. Could you please wait outside for forever? A bit. Castilian just kind of like stops flexing, looks a little bit dejected, and then he just goes, I'll be back, Beatrice. Don't you worry, my love. And he goes outside. And Beatrice just takes a sigh of relief. And she just goes, oh God, I can't thank you enough. I think you might just save my life. So, what can I help you with?
I don't think it was your life, but
Oh, no.
maybe your ears, at least
yes,
for the moment.
yes, at least my sanity. Good God. Oh, who's he? Anyway, what can I help you with?
Yes, I seem to have, well, mostly used up, not so much misplaced, but used up my rope. Do you have rope?
Yes, I believe I do. How much of it are you wanting exactly?
Standard length, was that certain? How many feet?
Was it about 50 feet?
50
Yeah.
is the standard, yes.
Yeah, in that case, yeah. About 50 feet? Something like that?
Okay, so she just kind of goes from behind the counter. She just walks off to the right a little bit, and you can see that the sort of like there's a cabinet with a few miscellaneous items, and she reaches into one of the like one of the openings in this cabinet, and she pulls out 50 feet of rope, and she just goes, yes, I believe that will be 1 gold per 50 feet.
That's perfectly adequate. I'd like 2 sets of 50 feet.
Then...
Two lengths, 50 feet each.
Okay, 2 gold it is then, please.
Also, do you have a ball of twine?
Ball of twine. Just a moment. She goes back behind the counter once again, and this is something a little bit more specific, so she's just going to have a very quick look to see.
It's more general store item.
I know it's a general store item, but she's a little bit befuddled right now. She's very befuddled by Castilian's befuddling.
Alright, I'll give her that.
I mean, to be fair, would you not be befuddled too?
Bewildered? Yeah, probably.
Okay. How much are you wanting exactly?
Just
Like,
a small ball of twine.
Just a small ball of twine. Okay. In that case, she's just going to go. Yes. I'll give this to you for 5 silver.
Alright. In that case, I will take out the money and hand it to her. 2 gold, 5 silver.
Okay. You hand over the money to her, and she just says to you, now, if there's nothing else, I think I need to lie down.
I can understand that. Have a good rest.
Yes, hopefully I'll...
Just before you go, I've got a couple of things, if you don't mind.
Yes, of course. Terribly sorry. What do you want?
Can I have several reels of fishing line, a few small bells if you have any, some dry rations as well if you have some.
Okay, so how much fishing line are you wanting?
Let's say 4 reels worth should do it.
I'll give that to you for gold.
Sure thing. So some small bells if you have any.
How many small bells?
Let's say 6.
Okay, she kind of like goes through a few bells. She actually holds up a couple of sizes for you. One is a little bit bigger than the other. Okay, so I've got these bells being rather large for gold, and then she pulls up some tinier bells, and she says,
But I can give these to you for, again, for 5 silver each. What size would you prefer?
How big are the smaller ones?
How big are the smaller ones? The smaller ones would fit in the palm of your hand. The bigger ones are probably about the size of your hand.
Smaller ones then. I'll take 6 of the smaller.
So that'll be 30 silver then.
Okay. And do you have any dry rations that we can take? Something that long lasting?
How many rations would you like?
2 weeks worth.
2 weeks. There'll be 5 silver pieces per day. So that would come to, and she does some quick mental arithmetic. So that would be 7 times 5, 35. So that'll be 70 silver for 2 weeks worth.
I hand it all over.
Okay. And anything else?
Have a quick look around the shop. Does anything really stand out to me? Anything that, like...
Nothing in particular. If she sees you perusing, she will ask if you're doing it more so than a few minutes. She'll just goes, "Oh, are you looking for something specific? There's quite a lot of odds and ends in here, and well, frankly, Castilian out there was rifling through a few things. That's why things are a little bit messy at the moment."
I just wanted to see if there was anything that was particularly interesting, anything expensive, or...
I don't really tend to keep anything of great value. I mean, honestly, I lost quite a few things in the raid. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't take more.
Never mind then. Do you have a little... Actually, never mind. No, that's about all then from me.
Yes, I'm going to have that lie down now. Listen, if Castilian's still waiting out there, just say that I've gone out for a walk through the back entrance. You
We'll
can't
see
say back
if we
entrance.
can distract him with a beer. I think that might do the trick.
Okay, and with that, you actually just see her put her head on the desk for a few minutes, and she just kind of stops moving. Okay, so do you guys leave?
Yes. Arthur coming too?
Yep.
In that case, closing the door very quietly.
Okay, and I think she would appreciate that. And as you go out there, you just see Castilian, and he's just kind of like giving you a wry smile. And he goes, "Oh, I think I almost got her. Tell me, did Beatrice say anything about me?" Does the eyebrow thing again.
What time is it?
I'd say about noon.
I believe she went out for a walk. She was going to get some lunch, I think.
I
I didn't
think.
really mention you in that particular moment, but you might be able to find her if you don't look for her.
Well. Did she say which way she was going?
No, she didn't. I didn't really think to ask, sorry.
Well.
Oh, she's going for lunch? Maybe by the pub? The pub has a nice lunch, didn't it?
Castilian kind of just rubs his beard and he just goes, "Oh, that sounds like a capital idea. Well, I'm going to go there and have a pie. See you in a bit."
See ya.
I want pie now.
And yeah, the scattered heart
Meat
isn't
pie?
too far from here, so you just kind of see Castilian just throw the door open, and he just goes in, and then you just hear some roaring from inside, and yeah, other than that, nothing else of interest is happening right now. What do you guys do next?
Arthur, did you say that about pie out loud?
Yes, I did.
Meat pie?
Maybe not just right now.
Yeah, probably better to hold off for a minute. Well, 50. Does anyone else have anything they want to get done?
Do they have a magic shop in town? Like scrolls.
Yeah, they did have like a staff and miscellaneous magic shop. It was. I don't think you guys actually went there just yet. Can't remember actually.
We did.
Did you? What did you go there for?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't want to go in. I just looked around. I think also.
Oh yeah, I think they might have had some component
a
pouches
I looked
in
at
there.
the pouches.
Yeah, that's.
But I'm not sure what Asa was looking for.
Yeah, I just couldn't quite remember.
It was a pearl.
Oh,
that I got
the
from
gem?
spirit.
Ah, yeah, you got some components, did you? That's fine. Okay, fair enough. Okay.
I'm not sure if Delman was on that trip, but we could take him there.
We stay back for that one. Read his book.
Okay. Do you guys want to go there?
Actually, I think he was tagging along. Just that was the session. Elf wasn't around.
Oh right, my bad.
Yeah, he
But
was.
He was reading his book.
He was reading his book. He was with us
He
reading
was just
his
very,
book,
very
but
focused on his
still.
book. Like very focused, to the point where he kind of really wasn't there.
Alright. In that case, let's take Delman there.
Yeah, cool. All right. So you head in, and yeah, sort of Vivian greets you guys once again. Goes, ah, hello. Oh, what can I help you with today?
Our bookish friend got his nose out of the book for a moment. I believe he wanted to see you.
So, as you said, you just see Vivian interlace her fingers. She's got unnaturally long fingers. It's kind of like a spider in a way. And she just looks over to Delman and just goes, ah, what can I help you with?
I'd like to peruse your scrolls, please.
Ah, what are you interested in, dearie?
Has she got find familiar?
Okay, let's
No.
Good choice.
yeah. So there's a few bundles of scrolls. What level of spell is Find Familiar?
That's fine.
Oh, it's a 1, I think.
It is.
Yeah, that one's level 1.
Okay. Alright, I'm just going to make a quick roll here, actually. Just give me a second. Right, so she searches through rollers. Let me just see. Okay, so after a few moments, she kind of like there's several shelves of scrolls, and she does manage to pull that one out. It's a little bit dusty because it doesn't really seem that people buy scrolls very much here, but she manages to produce the one that you desire, and she just goes, okay, that will be 25 gold.
Excellent. Do you perhaps have floating disc spell?
Disc, what level is that, Delman?
1. It's Tensor's floating disc.
That's a floating disc. Okay, just gonna make another roll. Okay, unfortunately, you mentioned name the spell that the scroll's based on, and she kind of squints a little bit at something that's probably not quite familiar to her. She thumbs through the scrolls once again, but unfortunately she can't produce that particular item.
It's regrettable.
Anything else I could help you with?
It's something he wants.
Yes, actually, this is a staff shop by trade. What are you looking for specifically?
I generally need a base to create a wand, but I'd also be curious about what words you actually have. Just the lower end.
Well, I mean, you can see these lovely component pouches that our resident physician Sasha Holloway made. Also, the scrolls that I produced. I actually get a few potions from, what was his name? Tobias Trenton. He, traveling merchant. He comes through town sometimes, drops the odd one off. Greenest isn't really a place of magic. It's still quite a fledgling community in that way.
Do you have any potions of healing?
I think I might actually. She just goes to the other side of the shop. She pulls it's not really a tarp, just like covering it. It's part of the shop that she doesn't really need to use that often, and she goes, yes, there do seem to be a few here. Actually, more than I expected. I suppose we don't have many adventurers through Green Esther. How many did you want?
Just the one. Unless you have a buy one, get one free offer.
No, dearie. I just sell the items as they come. That would be 50 gold.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Hand over the gold.
Hand over the gold, and you get a healing potion. Okay. So
from the pouches, is there one that has an ivy leaf pattern?
there is. So you're actually looking at these when you see several really nice, just flowery patterns. Some with ivy, some with vines, some with daffodils, some with bluebells. It's like you can tell that a lot of time and effort have gone into each of these. Would you be interested in buying one?
I'm taking a very close look at the ivy one.
Okay.
Just waiting to see if Beatrice has anything to say.
So after selling the healing potion, Vivian notices you kind of like looking intently at one of these pouches. Goes, they're beautiful, aren't they? Such a talented young lady. Would you be interested in buying one, maybe?
I have to say I am. This is really exquisite work.
Yes, it was so kind of her to let me stock these. They're all the same price, 25 gold each.
May I have a look at this one? And then I'm pointing at the ivy one.
Yes, of course. And she takes it down from this shelf unless you're kind of already touching it, and she hands it to you.
Wasn't touching, just looking for.
Yeah, she puts it into your hands.
In that case, I'm looking inside, looking at how it's split up into compartments.
I mean, considering that...
You don't need to describe it.
Right, fair enough.
Just flavor. Okay. Yes, this is really lovely. This is something that will help me greatly. And,
yes, I'm very glad to hear it.
On the note of what's it called?
Component pouch.
Components. Do you happen to have seeds of the moonseed plant?
Just give me a moment. I do have a few seeds dotted about the place. Sasha might actually be a better person to talk to than I. She, being more of the druidic persuasion. Okay, she has
That is true. It's just she's also still moving around her items.
No, nothing so specific. I have some dandelion seeds if you would like those.
Thank you for the offer. I'll go with the bag and pay her at the back. 25 gold, right?
Yep. Okay. So, do you guys want to buy anything else from here?
Yeah. Do they have either alarm or comprehend languages scrolls?
Alarm
They're
or
both first level.
comprehend. Okay, cool. Let me just so. Yeah, you ask her about the scrolls, and she does pull both of these out. Once again, they cost 25 gold each.
Awesome. Can I buy ink and parchment from here? Actually, I won't need parchment. I don't think.
You said
The
you just need
ink
ink?
to copy it into my book. Can I buy that here?
Okay. So she just guides you over to part of the shop that's near to the scrolls, and yeah, there's a few vials of ink there. You can get a 1 ounce bottle for 10 gold.
Cool. I think I need 50 gold's worth of ink and whatever for each spell scroll. I
Okay.
think. No.
Yes, if it follows wizard rules, it'll be 50 each.
50? Yeah, I'll buy enough for all 3 then.
Yeah, and she has the stock to provide you with.
So 150 plus 75 for the scrolls.
So, wait, what did you say, sorry?
It's 50, 25 for each scroll, and then 50 to copy each scroll into my book. So 225.
Okay.
Total.
Right.
Little man get discount for bulk buy?
Vivian looks amused by your proposition, and she just goes, "Oh, we have an entrepreneur here. Well, fine. Name your price." She seems intrigued. Zark, roll persuasion.
8.
8. You know what? I'm actually going to roll persuasion for her to just see, like, how well she takes this. You got to love those low rolls. Okay, so she's kind of taken aback a little bit by Zark's shrewdness, and she just goes, 225 gold, was it? I'll give it to you for 180.
You are most generous. I'll hand that over.
As you do this, she gives Zark a wink and just, I wouldn't try that every time though. I like you, but don't expect freebies next time.
I'll just smile and then leave with everyone else, assuming they all leave after this.
Unless anyone wants to buy anything else from here.
I did want to buy a base wand as well.
Just base one, did you say?
Yes. Just basically be something that I could enchant into a wand.
Okay, so you're able to. She has a collection of wands and staff, so you can get. If you wanted to just get a wand itself, you can buy one for 10 gold.
I think I need to be able to actually enchant to create one. So yeah, buy one.
Yep.
And I'm
Okay, so you're done. Anyone want to buy anything else?
I'm out at the shop.
Okay, no. So you guys all leave the shop. So, what do you do now?
What time is it?
It is 11 o'clock now. I was just about to
Midnight.
say.
I meant
11 o'clock
in-game.
for me. Oh, well, I mean, it's important to mention that too. I'd probably say only about 10 minutes have passed, so about 10 past 12 in the afternoon. But do we want to stop here, or do we want to carry on for a bit longer? It's up to you guys.
It's up to the guys. Hour in front, really. 2 hours in front. An hour?
No, in front, yeah.
An hour, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, an hour.
You want to stop here, Blaine and Gwen, or are you okay to carry on for a bit longer?
I'm getting pretty tired, yeah.
Okay. I would probably say, just to end off the session really quickly. Do you guys have any other business in town?
Now, Sark had just gone to practice his great axe skills if we're all done shopping.
Okay. So, as you guys approach the keep after shopping, Sasha runs out of her hut and she just screams to you, "Ah! Good! Really good timing! My patient, he just woke up.
Terrific news.
He still seems a little bit confused, rather unstable. I could probably actually do with a hand calming him down." And with that, she runs back inside. Do you follow
I'll
her?
hurry after her. Yes.
Okay, so as you run inside, you just hear someone just scream, "Leosin! Where's Leosin?" And you just hear Sasha go, Nassim, it's okay. Leosin isn't here. I'm sorry, he's gone." Oh. He kind of like recoils for a moment and then he looks up to the few of you, and
Did the others run in as well?
I assume they
That would
did.
have followed.
Yeah. So as he kind of regains his composure, Blaine, he looks over to you and you see a glint of recognition on his face, and he goes, "Blaine? What are you doing here?" And with that, we'll end the session for tonight. Yeah,
Yeah, you that thing the DMs do that I do.
Yeah, I apologize. I couldn't really sort of get too much into that,
Cliffhanger.
but yeah. So yeah, apologies for running a little bit late tonight, guys. But hopefully you all enjoyed the session, and for anyone who is still here, I thank you very much indeed for watching. And we should be back with Hoard the Dragon Queen same time next week, unless anything else comes up. I'm not sure everyone's schedule's like, but we'll figure that out off stream. But anyway, until then, it's goodbye for me, and goodbye from everyone else, and we shall see you next time.
Bye.
There you go.
Bye.
Yeah.